guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome to my channel. It is Tuesday and we're going to get started and talk about something that we were covering last week about Ellen DeGeneres, because it appears as though there might be a little bit of a resolution, although I don't know what. But here's what's going on. So a month ago or so, BuzzFeed drops these pieces about Ellen's show and basically alleges that there is a lot of problems in this workplace. Like, it is a toxic workplace. People are alleging all kinds of things, like producers propositioning people that are underneath them to do things for them that are not like typically things that you would do at work, you know, like adult type stuff. And there was also comments about how people were being fired for overall missing work, bereavement, taking time off to take care of their health. And then there was some stuff about insensitive comments, racially insensitive comments, and the fact that there was sort of this systemic issue with producers not being kind to anybody that wasn't white. Once everything comes out, the second piece comes out, and that's all about the producers utilizing their power to kind of influence and try to get favors, adult favors, let's just say, from production assistants or people that they are like above. So the superiors were using their positions to get favors, let's just say, or to proposition or get into relationships, which obviously can be a humongous issue and is not usually tolerated in any work environment. So there was an investigation that was launched, an internal one by Warner Media, and apparently everything was completed. And sometimes how you hear things in the media and it's like, oh, it's not always exactly as it seems, or perhaps it's not as huge of a problem, or maybe it's not as grave as we thought it might be. Well, this is interesting because Variety actually released this morning, and it says that Ellen met with her staffers on Monday afternoon, and she spoke to them like via a conference call. And I guess it says that she was emotional and at sometimes in tears and apologetic as she addressed the more than her 200 staffers that were on staff. So apparently what they do is they're going to be ridding 3 executive producers. So they're going to be overhauling its production staff because of racial insensitivity and the misconduct related to adult activities and other problems within the work environment. And so they are firing Ed Glavin, Kevin Lehman, and Jonathan Norman. So executive producers were Ed Glavin and Kevin Lehman, and then the co-executive producer was Jonathan Norman. Now, if you remember, Ed Glavin and one of those other guys was listed as one of the guys that was propositioning staff for favors. So they say that they're going to be getting rid of these 3 executive producers, and then the ones that will remain will be 3 that she's had since the beginning: Mary Conley, Andy Lassner, and Derek Westervelt, and they will all remain on the show as executive producers. So 2 executive producers and 1 co-producer are gone. And then apparently during her talk, she apologized and she admitted to everyone, listen, I'm not perfect. That in an effort to sort of keep the show as like this well-oiled machine, she says that they believe that maybe the leaders were not as sensitive to the human side of the staff as they should have been. And she also added that, she was really heartbroken reading a lot of the allegations about the atmosphere and that she felt terribly about that. She said, she even admitted apparently in this call with her staff that yes, the show has gone as far as to note that the show has alienated staff and guests by shifting shooting timetables on short notice. So apparently, like, people were waiting for a very long time for shooting or inconveniencing guests. And she said they're going to be sticking to their agreed timetables to make sure that production goes a lot smoother for the show. And apparently they addressed the overall, what the results were of the internal investigation. And they said that they interviewed over 100 people that were connected to the show. And they said they found that there was no evidence of any sort of systemic racism on the show. So apparently Ellen and all of her staff members are going to be going through a diversity and inclusion workshop, and they're going to be dealing with, how to be nicer in the workplace. She also said that she is going to be doing more small groups with staffers once everything sort of chills out with the pandemic, be more involved and to address more of the issues. Obviously, getting rid of Glavin and Lehman and Norman, those three were cited in that article from BuzzFeed, so it was pretty clear they had to get rid of them. And they had been suspended and now apparently have been terminated by Warner Media. They also are going to be removed from any other shows that Ellen is on, or Ellen is like the Ellen's game show. They're going to be gone. They won't be there anymore. They're going to have a better human resources department as well, and a hotline where they can make complaints. And that she hoped that, she wished that they would have addressed this sooner, but, she couldn't because the investigation was in process. So after everything was all said and done, and in this talk, apparently, according to Variety, Ellen also even addressed the fact that people say that she's like not a nice person, doesn't look at people, doesn't want to talk to people. And here's the thing. She said that it was not this idea that she was mean or all of these things. She called that crazy, and she said it wasn't true. And she said that she's just a introvert. And she apologized to all people that felt disregarded. And this is a part of the thing that I always wondered about Ellen. Introverts can often come off aloof and indifferent. I'm an introvert, and I know from my own experience on the job, it's hard for me to interact with people. And so sometimes when I was in an office, I was always the girl that kind of kept my head down and away from whatever was going on around me, because I would lose focus very easily. And I found the constant interaction on the job of dealing with people to be very draining, given the fact that for my job, I had to deal with people on the phone all day. And so when I wasn't on the phone, people would always say that you're not a nice person, but it was more like I just had to keep my energy for my job instead of the energy for my coworkers. So I often was told, you're not a nice person. But then after people got to know that and I was made aware of that action, I corrected it. So maybe people pointing this out to her of like how, it's hard for introverts, you guys. It's not always easy for us to interact and then have to interact with an audience or interact with people. So maybe for her, it was like this coping mechanism. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, which is hard. But if she acknowledges that, like, she's an introvert, but I think another part of it is that you have to acknowledge too how your self-preservation behavior can indirectly impact people, and you have to probably be a little bit more cognizant of how you choose to interact with people and how those interactions do affect them. So almost like having to fake it. So that's what I've learned. I learned after a while I had to learn how to fake it. So I had to like fake being super bubbly and fake being really positive or fake being really happy when I wasn't on the phone, so that my coworkers didn't feel like I was disregarding them, even though in reality I wasn't. It was just like I was there to do a job. The politics of workplaces are always complex, and I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. There's a very long history, though, of people saying these things about her. Is it that she's an introvert? Is it that she, maybe does she have anxiety? She did grow up in a Christian cult, so there could be that aspect of it too. I'm not sure. I mean, she's had a lot of people come out in support of her. Even Anne Hesh, who was once very critical of her, was now saying, that she didn't really regret that time she had with Ellen. So I'm always going to err on the side of caution and just be like positively or cautiously optimistic, because there's been a lot of people now that have actually come out and said a lot of things about her. But there's always that aspect of like, when you start talking, like when one person says something bad, then it seems to open up the door for everyone to feel like they can say something bad or to share it sort of opens up this door where people think that they can say anything that they want, or it's like they've been empowered because, well, one person said they didn't like her, so then everyone says that they didn't like her, whether or not like that's actually like true or not. Sometimes that whole mob mentality can happen. Is that what happened here? Or is Ellen just a really terrible person and all of this now is just sort of a way to continue to move forward and improve damage control? I always say that the only way that anyone has changed is by demonstrating that you have changed and demonstrating that you will be a different person and that you will do better. So really, in the long run, it'll come down to what changes happen and how staffers feel and how guests feel going on to the show, because there's been plenty of guests that have come forward that said that they weren't happy. And so hopefully this will improve things for everyone. I mean, you don't get to be at Ellen's level if you don't have something special. And she clearly has drawn in millions of people with her humor and her kindness. Whether or not that's real or not, I can't say. But she has amassed a humongous following and has had a very successful career. And that doesn't happen by accident. So I feel like deflated about this. I don't know what you guys feel. Tell me what your thoughts are. Do you think it'll change anything? Do you think this is just sort of like damage control? Or are you feeling, nah? Did you not even watch? All right, tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.